worries me is when usually people ask me, like, what was your childhood like with your parents? And I want to explain, like, my dad did certain things, like he swore at me all the time, or that one incident that I told you about, that he just like when he was drunk, he kind of lost it on us verbally and just kind of went kind of crazy. But I want to explain all that, but at the same time too, I'm thinking, like, my dad was never a bad person though. Like, don't get me wrong. So it's a hard time for me to explain that to you, because I don't want you to think.
It's also sometimes hard to be objective about what your family is really like. Now, the impression I get is your father loves you very much.
Oh yeah, I know, he's awesome.
And your mother's very loving. Your mother also doesn't necessarily understand the nature of this problem.
No, but I think she's starting to now, more so.
Right.
I think it's where my dad doesn't really understand.
And where that understanding starts is communication.
Yeah, well, because that's what I mean, like, me starting to talk about it with my mom and stuff, she's totally understanding everything now. So now, when I'm talking to her, like, we constantly keep in touch. Like, I called her last night, like I told you, and I said, okay, I want the other half of the salad, is okay, like, I just want to let you know, just so you know.
I know he knows what's going on, but he just doesn't really know what to say to me. I think he's scared, and he just doesn't know how to approach the situation.
What would you like to say to him?
This is what I'm going through, and you know, I'm getting help, and I look forward to, you know, getting myself together. Just be patient.
It's like, as much as I want to stop doing this so much, like, in the back of my mind, part of me, like what else would I have to, like, live for?
Right. Okay. Have you ever been suicidal?
Maybe. Like, just...
Many people are, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people sort of think about it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, not too many people do it.
Maybe, like that's what I was saying, like, a couple, like, 3 or 4 months ago, I felt, like, just really, like, empty. Like, thought about it, or more or less thought that I wouldn't care if I was dead, or wanted to be dead.
Well, if you ever feel
I have no problem doing it in public places.
Some people can do it.
See, like, I went with my mom and my sister out for dinner, and we went to a movie afterwards, and I had, like, a full dinner. So when we got to the movie theaters, I was, like, really, like, okay, I have to do this. Like, how am I going to do it? They're with me. So I'm, like, kind of freaking out. So I'm like, okay. So I went to the bathroom, and I sat on the toilet, and I told them, like, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if they can see my feet on the outside sitting down, then they don't think I'm doing anything, right?
Right.
So I'm, like, covering all the bases. So I would throw up in between my legs.
Right.
Like, stuff like that. Like, I told my mom last night, I'm like, yeah, do you remember when we were in Colossus and we were at the movie theater? I'm like, yeah, you probably saw my legs. I don't know. Like, I was so paranoid. And she's like, you actually did it like that? I'm like, yeah. And they were
so
standing
your parents
outside.
had no idea?
They know what's going on, but they didn't know that I was doing it right in front of them like that, because I'm so silent. Like, I'm quiet. Like, even at home, I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, okay, if I go to the bathroom right now, and they're listening on the outside.
Yeah.
And they can hear me pee, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, well, if they hear me pee or throw up after, they're gonna hear why is she peeing for so long, like how obviously she's throwing up, all that sound, right? So I would take toilet paper, put it into the toilet, and then puke so it wouldn't hit the water.
Yeah.
So, like, this would mean, like, I just started telling my mom yesterday and my dad, like, yesterday I came home and I sat on their bed and woke my mom up, and I sat with my parents for like an hour and just talked about it like that and all the details.
Must have been a hard thing to explain to your parents.
Not so much my mom now, because my mom is totally aware of everything now. Like, she's really getting it. So I can totally open up to her about these little things that I have. Like, you know what I mean? And then Mark last night, I told him the exact same stuff that I just told my parents, like, detail. And
now, Mark's your boyfriend. He had some idea, but he
didn't know it was like this. He can't grasp, like, that I'm actually doing this. Like, it's just, it interests him that I can, just all this stuff that I do, which it interests me too, like that my mind works like this. Just like someone who's addicted to alcohol or whatever, they have their little things that they do too, and you go like, wow, that's crazy. That, you know what I mean? How they do their certain things they do, because it is interesting.
It's an unusual behavior. It's
well, it
out
is.
of the norm for sure.
Yeah. So
how many of your friends? Have you ever talked to any of your friends about it?
Yeah, no, two of my girlfriends know about it. The only hard time that it's hard for me to explain to someone is like the boyfriend, because I feel like I would scare him away. Like, I wouldn't feel normal to him, and You know what I mean? Like, that kind of bothered me last night. Like, I started feeling a little
You're not the first person to
anxiety,
say
like
that.
I'm gonna lose him or something because I'm baggage, or it's like
Well, first
too
thing
much
to
for him to
remember
handle,
is-
or I'm just not normal or something.
Well, first off, this is fixable, so you know that's not ever going to
Yeah.
be the case from here on in, right?
But it puts stress on a relationship.
But that's how you feel before you really get out in the open with it.
Yeah. But the thing is, too, like, when it comes to our relationship, what scares me is, like, going through this, I almost feel like I should be single because it brings more anxiety and more stress on my life when I have a boyfriend at the time, because I'm going through this uncomfortableness with myself and trying to have sex or, like, be intimate with him when I'm not even comfortable in my body at certain times. It's hard for me to give that to him.
Yes.
And then it kind of hits my insecurity level, though, because I go, oh my God, I can't satisfy him. Like, oh my goodness, I'm not doing my job, or, you know what I mean? And then it's putting stress, like, oh, if I can't do all these things for him, maybe he's going to be like, oh, well, I need this physical stuff, so maybe he's going to go cheat on me. Like, that's my fears, and that kind of builds up anxiety.
That must build huge anxiety.
Oh, it does, massively. And I told him, I explained all this to him last night, and he's totally understanding. He says, you know what, that's fine if we can't touch, or you just gotta let me know. And I'm like, you know, even after I eat, even if you just give me a couple hours to digest
You're very
it, I
lucky.
can be like that.
You have a very understanding boyfriend, and that is good.
He is, but my last boyfriend wasn't, and that's why I couldn't really get better, because he'd try to help me, but then he'd want stuff, and then he couldn't figure out, well, why can't you just do it? And then I would just be like, hey, this is too much stress. I'm not even gonna get better. I'm just gonna go do my thing, go throw up and feel better, and then be able to be with him.
I know I'm harming my body.
Right.
And the fact that people are going to find out, I'm very embarrassed.
Now, when you think about the embarrassment of it, what is the source of the embarrassment most of all? That it's ugly, or that it's something?
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting, okay. If you believe it's disgusting, why particularly do you keep doing it?
So I can't stop it. I wish I could answer that.
Can you imagine if someone saw you doing this, actually stood and watched you purge? How would you feel about it?
Horrible.
Could you do it?
I have bitten that much that I can't keep it in my body, and I have no choice.
But you would be embarrassed and you'd be disgusted in yourself.
Is it a mental thing? Not really. Is it in my mind? Yeah. Yeah, there's things that go through my mind that make me do it, just getting anxiety and stuff like that. But I just am working on it right now, and working on changing some things and figuring some things out. So other than that, I'm okay.
No, you're not going back to work.
Yeah, well, I'm okay. I'm going to be taking care of it. So I just want you guys to know not to worry. Okay?
So at this point now, your relationship with your parents now becomes much more supportive.
Oh, totally. Like, I told her, I'm like, I'm going to be really needy in the next week or two. I might be really annoying because I'm going to be clingy and stuff.
Sometimes parents are there for that.
But she said, no, that's totally fine.
Now, it's important that the fact that now you're getting support from there, plus what we've worked together with, you're now in an environment which is much more likely, in fact in your case it's a dead cert, that you're going to nail this thing,
Yeah.
you're going to get over it. Now, before you started working, whether it was me or with anybody else, while there was that secrecy around and there wasn't that support at home, before your boyfriend knew
Yeah.
that you were battling an illness, which is what this is, everything was lined up against you, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, because I had,
No wonder
it was
you
just
were.
me. It was
Exactly.
my own, like, ambition, whatever I had that tried to, like, that I wanted
But you're doing it very much on your own and in isolation.
right now.
You were.
Oh, yeah. Like, I was trying to do it on my own all the time. I mean, there's a part of me that really wanted it that bad to get it done, but at the same time, I'm battling myself at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, how long were you bulimic in total?
Probably 11 years then.
That's a long battle.
Yeah. I mean, it started off slow, but then it started picking up probably.